Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chela Time, where four friends talk about their thoughts with a drink in hand. Already starting off with a bang, ladies and gentlemen, here today. My name is Diego.
My name is Cesar. How are you guys doing?
Hey yo, I'm Joel.
And I'm Peter.
Let's get it started.
Oh, fuck, that actually scared me.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
shit, I'll join
oh.
you. I'll join you.
Yeah. All right, let's go. What
Ah,
do
Chris
you
y'all?
do it.
Cheers.
What are you guys drinking tonight? I'll start us off. I have a nice little Coors.
I am doing Coke and Jack.
Modela Negra.
I'm drinking a Seagrams.
Just to reiterate, Caesar, that was a Modelo Negra, right?
Yeah,
Okay, sounded a little bit off there. Just got scared.
hit it off.
It's like no, no, no. um,
Sensors.
It's like all drinks are equal, all right?
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, not necessarily. A Jack and Coke is a hell of a lot stronger than just a basic beer. But
Yeah,
if
fuck,
you if
man.
you catch my drift, but yeah. Um, how are y'all doing?
Pretty alright. Pretty alright. How about
Pretty
you, my guy?
sad.
All right. Fucking
What you
Caesar.
said, Caesar?
Why
What
are
you
you
said?
sad?
Surprise.
No,
Talk
it's
to me,
just
big man.
like,
Talk to me. What you said?
oh, I'm good. Just feeling stuck at home due to COVID and stuff.
Pussy.
It's,
What's
it's...
wrong?
Oh,
What's
poor
wrong?
man.
What's
You're the
wrong
only
with
one.
I fucking hate it, dude. Like, I feel like there's no like life isn't fun anymore. We can't even go. Well, we can, but I personally choose not to go out. Just I don't want to run the risk. But it sucks until this
I
whole thing gets figured out.
it might be weird, but I actually find it entertaining. Like my own company. I feel like I'm capable of
Yes.
doing that. So it's like although yes, I'd rather be, you know, passing time with people that I otherwise would be had this not been happening. I I'm not dying. Like, I think I have a lot of fun just chilling here at home. So, it's a good time.
And you become more creative at home too.
Yeah,
You
dude,
come up with better ideas.
I've been a little bit like more productive at home, or at least more shit's been getting done over here at home. So I I,
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Um, it's interesting because I mean, I've always been a homebody, so I always just lay at home anyway. I'm comfortable. I'm most comfortable when I'm in my own home. But it does come with a single downside, and that's that I am in my own head a little too much sometimes. So I feel like I'm starting to become like crazy, like being here all day and not going out at all, like for a few days at a time, definitely has a negative effect on the mind that I feel like is now becoming more prevalent with more people that stay at home longer. I think I'm finally able to be able to like say that, and people are like, oh yeah, I totally feel that. But it there's days, man, where I'm here at home and I'm just like, oh my god, like I feel like the walls are closing in, and then the next 5 minutes I'm totally fine. It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
See, and you feel that way, and you're in a like a whole ass apartment. Imagine me with like a fucking my small ass room, and I'm just yeah, I know I can go outside, but sometimes when I'm working, I don't get a chance to go outside, and then I get off at 7, and then 7 to whatever time I fall asleep, I'm just in my room, and I'm just like I fucking need to get out of here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and you're right. Like being in my apartment, it's like, yeah, I have my freedom. I can just walk around. But there is, like, I totally get what you mean. Where there is a sense of like, oh my gosh, I really need to go somewhere. Like, any chance I get, like, oh, we need something from the grocery store. Let's go. Like, I'm so ready to get out of here for once.
I feel like I haven't felt that yet, at least in the sense that I'm like on a constant grind due to school. And considering I just finished school, but we'll be back in like under a week and a half, it's like I guess I'll finally get to experience that even in the slightest bit where I'll have to fully try and find things to occupy my mind. But I mean, like before this or after this even started, like with the whole quarantine and thing, I was in school. So again, I was still on a constant grind, so I had something to occupy myself with.
You were
And
already
then
in your room to begin with, right?
yeah, so it's like I've felt no difference except like after school ended, and then I had a little bit of time, which I guess was different there because I actually took it as like, oh, finally I'm away from school. Now I can take a break. So I haven't felt that fatigue, but I can imagine how Diego, you said being too caught up within your own mind could be very taxing as well. So fortunately, I haven't been there yet. You know, like when
No,
I did
you
it, when I had free time, I got COVID. So it's like
So that
I'm telling you,
occupied your time.
it's a constant grind. I've always had something to do.
you're definitely right that you being in school, you have that to be busy on, like you're able to put your mind to that. But for me, like if I'm not working, or I'm not like playing online with you guys, it's almost like there's times where it's it's hard to explain, but okay, like I'll be on YouTube or something, like browsing to watch for like a video, or on Netflix browsing to watch for a show, and then sometimes I feel like no, like there's too much to watch, or I'll try to force myself to do something more productive, but then I get like anxious thinking to myself like, oh well, there's like three different things. Which one do I start with? Like, am I going to be able to get it all done? I don't know. It's just like stupid things like that that I'll start to overthink it, and then I'll like overload my mind, and then I'll just do nothing. And then after like 3 hours of doing that, it's like, okay, I'll just start on this one thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes there's not enough to watch. I feel like there isn't. You know, there's like that normal cycle of everything on YouTube that you watch, and I'm not pretty adventurous when it comes to watching new things. Whether that be a TV show or a new channel, like I'll have to really dig the first video that I watch, or else I won't hold on to it. Like if I'm not wowed within the first video or the first episode, then I'll be more reluctant to like, oh, I'll give it a second shot. I'm definitely not like that. So I feel like in YouTube I'm constantly running out of things to watch because I have the things that I like to watch, well, the PewDiePie, KSI, some music videos, stuff like that. But as soon as those are over, I'm like, great, what the fuck do I do now?
it definitely helps if you grew up with YouTube, which I'm sure a lot of us here did.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
did.
but like for me, like I was watching YouTube when like Ray William Johnson was first like whipping out
Oh
videos,
yeah, yeah.
and so over time, like I started watching like Ryan Higa, Shane Dawson, Smosh, and from there they branched out to other things and introduced other creators. So like right now, like my YouTube situation, it's not a problem. I can definitely keep myself occupied on YouTube the entire day because I have that many creators, shitting out videos day per day.
Yeah.
So
I
it
guess
definitely
to clarify as to why I get like tired is because unfortunately, well, no, not unfortunately, that's not correct to say, but the channels that you watch or that we watch, a lot of the times when they branch out to those other channels, they're very similar. I mean, there's not a lot of difference when you go from a Ryan Higa to a Smosh. The skits are very ordered,
right.
and they have that same pacing and everything. So I feel like what is more fatiguing is the genre of videos because I feel like you can only watch so much until you want something that is at least fresh. And so I struggle with that even a little bit.
I I
I
I
go ahead.
find that it's it makes me sad sometimes, because watching, for example, like when I first really got into YouTube, God, it must have been like maybe 11 or 12, and I remember specifically is because I had gotten an iPod Touch for my birthday,
Oh yeah.
and I had never owned like a smart device up until that point, so I was like really excited to use it. So being on YouTube and then finding my own, genre of video to watch, like all the time, you start to grow, almost like attached to specific YouTubers and channels, right?
Hmm.
And this is, me segueing into like what our favorite YouTubers are for, but for me, I find that as I grow old, like, then me being 11 and 12, me being like, it's been 10 years now, I'm 21. A lot of the channels that I started off with, it's like I find myself watching them less and less
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
they either were super long and I was a kid, so I had literally nothing to do, no responsibility, so I could watch them for hours on end, or the cast slowly starts to change, and then you start to realize like, oh, I don't like these new people, and it's not because they're not, making the videos great, or if anything, with time the channels get better due to like production and stuff like that, but it's just like you start to miss the the older, cast members from a channel, or like the
Yeah.
older types of videos, and then maybe they stop making a certain type of video, and then it's like, you know I'm now here at a point where it's like, oh man, I used to watch that channel, I'm still subscribed to them, but I haven't watched any of their videos in years. It's really bizarre.
It it
Yeah.
it reminds me of Smosh. Um, you
Oh
said
fuck yeah.
how you
I
you
miss
watch
Smosh
them
so much.
for so long that you like start watching them less. That reminded me of that quote. I don't know where it's from. I know it was there in Batman for a little bit. I think it was in The Dark Knight. But it's you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, that's the
And so
Dark
it
Knight.
in a more like twisted way, it's like you these channels are either great when you watch them, or they get so overly produced that they become unauthentic and more corporate. And I think that's what happened with Smosh, and that's also why Anthony left, because he's like they started losing their identity day after
Mm.
day because it started getting more corporate. These guys were, you look at them and you're like, Smosh, oh, it's Ian and Ethan,
Ian
fucking
and Anthony.
Ian and Anthony. Sorry, fucked that up. It's been a while. It's been a while, but uh, those guys weren't even the owners to start with.
Yeah, this entire
They
time they were not the owners of
who were the
Smosh.
part of Defy Media.
Defy Media, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like these guys, they themselves got tired of it. They saw how it started to become inauthentic after like 8+ channels: Smosh Gaming Extra, Smosh 2. It's like it's too much, and I've seen that with other stuff too, like including Ray William Johnson,
Hmm.
where they they just stray away from what it was that people loved about
Originally
them
grew attached
initially.
to,
Yeah.
yeah. And to piggyback off of that, it also comes into play their audience really, because like again, you had me, who at like very very young was watching Smosh back in 2005, 2006. Like I remember watching the new videos come out, and then you tend to get older. When you get older, your humor starts to change. So at that point, at some point, I do remember Smosh not being funny to me anymore. And yes, it could have very well been because of that production company and the way that they were writing their scripts now. But at that point, my humor had probably changed, so that might have been some factor as to their downfall. And I'm assuming that's the same with every other audience member.
That's interesting you mentioned that, because I feel like with some channels, I actually man, Smosh is one that I kind of missed the boat on. I never really got into those guys. But for me, I would watch a lot of um Rooster Teeth vids, and back in, gosh, I want to say like 2012 was when they really started to kind of jump into the mainstream. They're already mainstream, but more so um
Is
than
that
they
the same
were.
time they got with GameStop? Or am I thinking of another time?
No, I mean, no, you're right. They did start doing stuff with them. But you guys mentioned how you guys go back to the older videos and you don't find them funny. I find it's the opposite. It's the other way around sometimes, where because with most places trying to become more PC, now with like the Black Lives Matter movement and like Me Too stuff, and just trying to not make jokes that were funny back then, but obviously would not be funny to most of the audience now. It's like I go back and watch some of the older videos, and it's more of my humor, because I'm into like darker humor, stuff that most people wouldn't find funny now,
Yeah.
m- mostly based because of the climate, in terms of like the movements going on. Um but it's just like seeing them change that, and just trying to go more with what not necessarily their core fans wanted, but what the mainstream wants, so that they can keep putting themselves out there, always sucked, and always made it feel like, man, the more and more I watch, the more I find that this channel isn't becoming the type of channel I want to be a part of anymore. Like, I wish they had kind of, which is hard to, it's a hard thing to sit here and be like, oh, I wish they wouldn't change. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm glad they did, because yes, they do get more success, they do get more mainstream, they do get more people coming in, but it's almost like it's like, man, I still wish they were a bit smaller, just so
Yeah,
I could still feel a part of it.
it's almost a double edged sword because you know people want to see you progress. They're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna be new, right? And it's almost gets to the point where when you when you change what you start to do, that's a clear indicator of success. You know, you start growing and everything, but you start growing and you start being, I guess, too normalized, too mainstream, that you stray away from what made you successful. And that's when people start to say, oh, it's either people don't either align with you because you stop making the things that you used to do, or if you continue doing the things you used to do, people are like, "Oh, he's not innovating, he's not changing." So it's almost like, "Well, what the fuck do you do?" Because if you either change too much, then people will leave you because you've lost your identity. But then if
At
you don't change, people get tired of what you're doing.
at the same
Yeah.
time, you can't keep continue doing the same thing because then it becomes old itself. So
Right.
you
So
are almost forced to do something new.
it's
Yeah.
inevitable that
As a
you're gonna have to do something different.
as a creator, that's I think the biggest thing they struggle with. What's next?
Yeah.
And I think at one point they just get tired. As an audience and a creator, both get tired of the same content. And these guys are always thinking about, okay, video ideas, right? What's next? And yeah, it's a double-ended sword. They have to It's
Yeah.
just what decision is the best and how do you execute it correctly so
hmm
everyone's happy.
I wanted to insert something real quick. So one of my favorite rappers is J. Cole. And in his album, which one is it? Is it KOD? Yeah, KOD, which is his most recent album. He does a diss track on Lil Pump. You know the guy who does Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he has this quote where he fuck. Let me find it. Let me find it. He. I'm sorry, guys. I it was just on my screen and I have lost track of it. But yeah, so here I found it. So essentially,
Paraphrase.
yeah, so he's like, okay, these new rappers are like so repetitive that they think that the revenue or the success they have is going to be never ending. So this is the code. It's like, I know you typed this revenue is never ending, but I want to give you a minute to tell you that ain't true. One day, them kids that are listening are going to grow up, and they're going to get too old for the shit that made you blow up. Now you're looking like because they don't show up, which is true. It's like Pedro said, he even when he goes back to watch the things that he used to love about these, it's just Pedro changed. Some his morals or even his humor changed to a
it was
point where he just doesn't resonate with that anymore.
it
And I
was just
think,
the dick jokes because at the time it was like
Mhm.
2008, 2007, where everything was a
Just
dick joke.
dick
Yeah, so
jokes.
so it's that this conversation it reminded me of that quote where it's like, if you don't change, the guys who are fucking with you, you know how he says in rap, the guys who like your music, if you don't innovate, they're gonna eventually gonna leave, or they're gonna grow up and then they're gonna see that they were actually listening to or watching is a bunch of garbage, which unfortunately happens to a lot of big YouTubers or other media creators.
Yeah, creators in general, honestly,
hmm
it can be applied to anyone really. But I agree with the music sense as well because like growing up, like I was listening to like Tokyo Hotel and like all these really annoying emo bands, and I'll look at them now. I'm like how did I listen to this?
Yeah,
This is bleeding in my ears right now.
I remember. Obviously, I was a lot younger, which again falls in with that quote. I remember when was it, like back in 2011 when fucking Black and Yellow by Wiz Khalifa came out.
Oh
Oh my
God,
god.
And
no.
yeah,
Oh
Bro.
I
no.
loved Wiz Khalifa. I thought it was so cool. It's like I never engaged in any of the shit that they would say in the music, but I thought it was just so sick, and I would love the music. But for
Like,
some reason, I really like the beats. I've always been a huge admirer of the actual music itself, not the lyrics, which is reminiscent of my time where I used to listen to a lot of heavy metal because I thought it was so sick, so impressive. How they can make this something that to other people seem chaotic made it sound so beautiful. And so I remember back then I would listen to Wiz Khalifa and loved it. and it wasn't until recently where I started listening to rap again, and I went back to try and listen to Wiz Khalifa, and I started listening to the lyrics. I'm like, what the fuck is all of this? I was like, why was I even listening to this when I was 11, 12? I was like, I didn't even understand anything, most of the things that he was saying.
You're just an 11, 12-year-old kid listening to some dude talking about smoking, and you're like, yes,
Yeah,
I like this.
and I think that's in part because I'm the oldest of out of all my siblings, so I I wanted to find something to look up to, and I guess like a lot of the people who I hung out with, they were actually eighth graders. They're only a year older than us, but that's what they were into. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna match that. I'm gonna try and replicate what they are because I looked up to them, and it wasn't until like eighth grade itself when I'm like, yo, these guys are a bunch of dumbasses. I'm not gonna start doing what they're doing. That's when I was like, okay, yeah, let's not look up to other people who look cool because they in a year's time they're gonna be in jail or doing something else.
and that's a
It's like straight jail.
Yeah, well,
that's a
I mean
pivotal
that's what
point,
happened.
dude.
That's what happened
Oh, there you
with
go.
these individuals I'm talking about.
I was saying that's a pivotal point in someone's lifetime. Like when you realize that the people that you kind of looked up to were actually jerks, or vice versa, the people that you didn't look up to were the people that you were supposed to look up to.
Yeah, that's a big I guess like a motivating factor. When I was younger, I had that realization where you know for the longest time I knew you guys, and it wasn't until in high school where we our bond as friends grew more into like a camaraderie. But
Comrades.
yeah, exactly, we die for the flag. No, I'm kidding. um
Okay.
in the USSR. But these guys were the ones who I grew up with in my apartment. So I after school, after seeing you guys, these were the guys I fucking hung out with. So it it was so eerie, so weird to see them kind of spiral into something that we're told to not be. We're like, oh, kids don't do drugs. It's so weird to see your friends engage in that. And I guess I never gave in to the peer pressure because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't want to replicate them in the sense that they were doing wrong things, and I thought I would be cool by doing wrong things because I knew that they were wrong. I just wanted to, I guess, be accepted by them by having swag back then. You guys remember those days?
Oh god,
Oh,
yeah,
gross.
Yeah.
a
So
horrible time in
it,
history.
I remember when these guys, one of them had a girlfriend. Things happened, and he just didn't want to take in charge of the kid. So I'm like, okay, this guy's my friend, but I that's not a trait that I admire about him. So I don't want to become that. And I think that's when like high school came around. That's when I was like, yeah, I think it's time to close off these friends, or still be friends but don't hang out as often because you know I didn't want them to influence me any longer. Which, I mean, look at me now. Those guys are doing other things, and I'm a year away from getting my bachelor's in engineering. So I guess that
That's
sometimes you need to be scared a little bit, to to change. It
yeah,
does. A lot of people see that they feel like things need to happen to them to change. It's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that because I got hurt or something. I guess that's always been a trait of mine that's I guess I've admired, that I can learn from other people's experiences and apply that into my life without me having to endure the pain that they went through.
that's some low shit though. Like how you said that guy, got some girl pregnant and just didn't want to
Yeah.
take responsibility.
And I mean, look, I don't want to say I get it, but he was 14, 15 at the time,
Oh
16
Mm.
goodness.
at most. So exactly. So it's
Yeah, I
like
get it.
it's like you can almost understand what he's feeling, but I just I
At the
can't
same
support his
time, he fucked
decision.
up.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah, yeah.
he knew what he was doing, dog. If you
Oh
could,
no, he's definitely
if
doing
you're,
it. Yeah.
yeah, if you're old enough to do the deed, dog, you know what the fuck. You
But then
can't
you
do it. I
analyze
didn't.
life if you do take charge, and then life if you don't take charge. And as a 15-year-old who's not mature, uh it might be easy to see the life without having to raise the child. So
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
going back to how you were mentioning just about the music stuff, where you, it's and just in general, how you're saying you kind of, when you're at that age, when you're like becoming a teenager, you feel like the people that you are looking up to or that you're hanging out with are like the be all end all, like they are, you know, the people you're going to know forever, blah, 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 or the music you listen to is the stuff you're going to be listening to forever. And then, yeah, you go back and you listen to some of the stuff and it's like, oh my gosh, you're only doing it because, or you only listen to it because it happened to be on like the top 40 radio pop stations or something. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. You just realize that half the stuff out there is really not worth it.
I just realized that the majority of the people that we went to high school with are fucking doing horrible, and not to say that we're
Well,
doing
damn. I mean,
so. We're
that's
not
some of our
doing.
audience, bro. I mean,
I'm not
damn.
Woo!
saying.
I
I'm
can't wait
not.
to see that.
Hey,
I can't wait to see
hey,
Shots
that drop in listeners.
fired.
listen,
Woo!
listen, guys, listen. There's at least a handful of people
All
that
right,
are
I
all
agree
right,
with you
just.
though. I
Caesar,
agree with you
Caesar.
though.
All right,
I get what
a
Steve's trying to
handful.
say.
As a person who does the maths almost every day, a
Big time.
handful does not equal
No, no, no,
the
no.
majority.
Okay, I'll give you that because the
Okay, yeah,
majority are in like college doing their own
yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
what I
I,
meant by the majority is like the majority of people that we, well, maybe that I know,
Hmm.
that
yeah,
I
you
maybe
hung
that
out
might,
with.
yeah,
I mean, gee.
yeah. Well, I mean, I only hung out with you guys, but there was like a
Yeah,
couple
I'm doing
other
crack.
like
He's right.
acquaintances that I had that are not doing so
Sorry, guys.
good.
No, I get what you mean, Caesar. I get what you mean. Like there are a few people that we know that are like, how did you get this low? But that is life, isn't it? I feel like
Yeah,
they just made some bad decisions. They didn't want to rectify those bad decisions, and now they're at where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, it's almost a fight or flight situation. It's like
yeah,
you either accept things for how they are, you understand you I mean, look, when you do things, you're supposed to understand the repercussions of what could happen after you fucking
yeah,
do it. As an adult, or even then as a teenager who's about to enter adulthood, you should fucking know that. I mean, if you're gonna you should know this before. I hope so if you were raised right. But if you engage in something and then you think everything's gonna be fine and dandy should shit hit the fan, then I don't know how you've made it this far into adulthood. It's like you
That's
got
the
to take,
risk,
yeah,
carnal.
you got to,
dude.
exactly, there is risk. And when the odds don't fall in your favor, you are not allowed to bitch out. You're supposed to fucking take things for how they are and deal with it. It's your responsibility. And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, you know what I really hate when people, and I'm talking when people do stuff and they end up getting arrested,
Hmm.
and then all their friends are free. Yes, hashtag free. Let's say in this case, Mike got arrested. Hey yo, free, free my guy Mike. Yeah, it's always free my guy Mike. What did Mike do? I mean, he was selling crack or weed, but I mean, he's caught with a couple ounces. Nah, nah,
Oh
nah,
my
my
god, no.
guy. Mike knew what he was doing.
I 100% agree. There was this one kid who was fairly well known in middle school and elementary, and he straight up like gunpoint shot up a Circle K, and every single skink that he talked to was like, "Oh, free him from jail." And I was like, "No, like, why do you want him out? Like, he's gonna fuck your life up, woman. What do you want him out for?" I like to this day, I get it. If one of you guys were to freaking, I don't know, do some weird stuff, some sketchy stuff, I would bitch at you by all means. I would slap you guys around like, "Why'd you do that?" But at the same time, I would raise some money for your bail.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But what these people, at least like on social media, I hear this guy is like, oh, this guy took the baby from his baby mama because she was with another dude, she kidnapped the baby, she shot up the other dude, and then after that they're like, man, he didn't do nothing, the cops wrongly arrested him, free my guy blank. And I'm like, no, no,
Yeah,
no, that's not the way things work. First of all, you kidnapped the child.
Jesus
Either
Christ.
they're yours or they're not. You could still kidnap a child that is yours, and then pursuing to engage in public. What is it? There's a certain
Public
terminology for when you
indecency?
fight. Yes, public
No, wait.
indecency. public
No, wait.
disturbance for when you fight. And I'm like, those are all quantifiable things that are going against you as to why you should get arrested. Maybe the way he was treated by the police wasn't, uh, an adequate response, but that's not to say you shouldn't be arrested.
That stems from a problem though that is that people just don't. I mean, and I think you mentioned it earlier. People don't understand that there are consequences to their
Hmm.
actions, and people don't, think before they act or speak. And I think that goes back to our education, because unfortunately, unless you were a quote unquote like nerd or geek or like were in the books as a kid, from elementary, at home, like growing up, a lot of people, man, just don't get it. Like they just don't understand that half the time when something like that happens, it's like, or when they think they're doing the right thing, and when people think they're supporting like somebody that was caught selling drugs or whatever it may be, it's like, no, you have to look at how the world works. Like, we get it, people, like, it's great to know that people support each other, I guess, but at the end of the day, I feel like not a lot of people understand that there's a law that you have to abide by a societal code. Otherwise you'll just get in trouble. Like, there are so many consequences to so many
Yeah,
stupid things that people do.
I I see a lot of arguments where like people say, "Oh, no politician, no governor, no cop is above the law," which is true. No one is above the law. But when people go out and break the law and expect them to for people or a cop or the judge to bend over backwards for them, it's they're almost implying I'm above the law. Everybody, if you're bitching and moaning that everybody has to follow the law, and then you proceed to break the law, well, guess what? You're gonna get arrested and you're gonna get punished for it.
I
Like I
I
said, there's consequences.
I love that we just described the entire plot to Live PD.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's
love that
essential. It's
show. I
essentially
love that
Oh,
they're
show.
like,
yo, they
yo, dude,
canceled it, bro.
fuck,
They
man, I didn't
canceled
do
it.
nothing, and I'm
Fucking
like,
canceled it.
what do you mean? And this is a stolen vehicle.
No, no, I swear, it's mine for real. It's mine.
Yeah, no, you know what I love in Life PD is like they get pulled over, and they're like, "Do you give us permission to inspect your car?" And they're like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna find shit, man." And he's
You
like, "All right."
Oh,
immediately find
bro.
shit.
He's like,
Is this a
"Yeah,
crack
man,
pipe?
we ain't gonna find shit." And then they find like fucking 10 kilos of fucking weed or coke or something or meth. And they're like, "Nah, man, that ain't mine. I let my friend borrow my car. That's probably his."
Hey, who's who? Hey, that ain't mine. I love it. I absolutely love it whenever it's like those kind of situations where they really try to put up a fight. Like, no, you can't take my breathalyzer test or whatever. It's like, okay, well, then we got to take you away for a blood test.
Yeah,
Well, no, I didn't condone this. I know my rights. No, you don't. You don't know your rights.
I hate the people who try to call a lawyer on the spot, on the scene. It's like, well, hold on, let me call my lawyer. I don't give a fuck, my guy. You're going away, my guy.
You're gonna get one free call in the jailhouse. Don't trip.
And see that right there, bothers me so much, is which just goes back to what I'm saying, is that people don't understand how that stuff works. Like, okay, you get detained, you get arrested, even you go to you go to jail for a little bit. Like, they're doing that, they're gonna do that for you at the freaking jail. Like, it's not like when they arrest you on the spot, unless it's for, I don't know, murder or something. But when they arrest you on the spot like that, they're not doing that to throw you in a cell so that you can rot there for like a week. They're doing a process. So it's just like,
You're
people.
gonna be out of there either next morning or in a few hours.
yo, guys.
Exactly,
Sorry,
exactly.
I was talking about it just real quick. It reminds me of the song by Megadeth where they're just like, we what is it? We're gonna give this life a man without parole, life without parole.
He's like, life? What do you mean life? I don't have a life.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of people think that's the way things work. It's like, oh, I have a little bit of weed on me, I'm gonna get arrested, and they think it's gonna be, I'm not gonna lie, the justice system is fucked up.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
I've seen cases where people get 20 years for you
Weed.
know for minor possession, and rapists are getting 5 or even less, or even
Yeah.
just fucking parole.
Slap on
It's
the wrist.
definitely fucked up. And but like here again, we go to the thing. It's like just don't break the law. If you're carrying, fuck, it's very tricky, but it's just please just don't try and break the law.
And it's not even
Dude,
like obviously, yeah, don't break the law. But if you know that you know, let's say you're pulled over and they're about to detain you and you know you've done nothing wrong, cooperate. Like don't
Yeah,
immediately get defensive because it's just going to be worse for you. Which of course I get it. It for somebody that doesn't understand what's happening, I can like 100% see why you would be scared. But then that fear is essentially what's going to ruin the odds of you getting out of there safely and or just going through the motions like fine, you know. The minute you let fear settle in and let you and like start acting without thinking, it's like, well, yeah, then you're going to end up doing something that will put you in jail for longer than just one night.
yeah, that makes me remember the fucking live PD episode where it was these two guys. The guy in the passenger seat, he had a warrant. A cop sees him, like clearly knows who he is. He's like, "Yo, I know that guy. That guy has a warrant." They start following him. They run the car. It's clean. The driver's clean as well. The only person they're after the passenger, and the passenger realizes that they're being followed. And he just like immediately gets out, starts running, and so does the driver who was clean.
Right.
And they get the driver and they're like, "Why'd you run? You do know we were only after your buddy, right? You're clean. The car is clean. It's not stolen. Why did you run? There's nothing. We didn't find anything on you." And he said, "I was just scared. I ran."
Exactly.
And so, well, now you're going away for evading the police.
Exactly, dude. It's insane.
yeah, but then I guess we go back into that ideology where you can't snitch anybody out. So it's either these people are gonna get pulled over and they're gonna ask them like, "Hey, yo, where's your buddy?" And they're gonna be like, "Man, I ain't no snitch."
Which
And
is
it's
which
like it's
can
like okay, you're not cooperating.
like can we all agree that that is hands down the stupidest fucking thing?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Like there's this whole
like
thing of
nobody's calling you a 6'9", bro.
yeah, like
Well,
it's this
I
whole
mean,
thing of like stitches get stitches, but it's like okay, sure, but I would rather
Every
like
time they say that, I feel like they're like gonna go to the ER and get a few like sutures.
stitches.
I would
This
rather
motherfucker's
confess
getting stitches.
if I knew that I was gonna go to prison for life unless I confessed something, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to be in prison forever. I'd rather get
Yeah,
out of that. Like it's just one of those things where it's like you're really gonna you're really gonna risk your life, like years of your life for some fucking dude. Like what the fuck?
If
and
someone's putting
chances
you,
are that other dude's a piece of shit.
yeah, if
So
Exactly.
it's
someone's
like,
putting you in that situation, they're not that much of a good friend. If I put you guys in a situation where you guys have to lie for me, I'd be like, no, guys, tell the truth. Like, just throw it on me. I'm getting the death sentence no matter what. Just give it to me.
nah, Pedro, I'd be like, throw this motherfucker in the gulag. I'll tell you whatever.
Make
Hell
him fight
yeah.
his
With
way out.
snipers. With snipers.
Yeah, dude.
No, with only fists while the other guy has a shotgun.
I don't know. I just think people have a sick sense of like honor. It's like that's not necessarily honor. That's stupidity.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the same time, like, say the other person, okay, hypothetical, I killed somebody. Well, I'm already going away. Say you three are not cooperating with the cops. Now you three for assisted murder because it's very clear I killed the dude.
Yeah, I'm
So,
accessory now. If I
Accessory,
know
there
you
you
killed
go.
somebody.
exactly. So I'd rather
Yeah.
you guys just save yourselves, save your skins.
Listen, if
Save your
you killed
souls.
someone and you were 30, 40, and that I'm assuming, I don't know off the top of my head, but killing a person at least gives you 25 to life, right?
It depends on
Well,
the state. Depends on the
yeah,
Depends on the
state and
Okay.
how
state,
you
but
yeah.
plan it.
even then, it depends on the intent. Like within
Yeah,
first
What
degree,
type of
second degree,
murder?
third degree. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
like
yeah,
if
yeah.
you planned this shit, you wanted to kill them. Like, man,
that's
th-
premeditated. That's a whole
yeah, this
thing.
person goes on their lunch at 11:30. This is the perfect time to bust some caps. Then yeah, you're getting first degree. But if it's almost like, oh, you defended your life, this person try to square up on you, and it's second degree because it's, or is that third degree? Well, we'll see.
I
Degrees
think
and murder.
it's. I don't know. Yeah, I would look that up.
I know,
But
lawyer boy.
it is 100% based on what the situation is. Obviously, if you are planning on murdering somebody and it's like meticulous, yeah, you're going away for life, my guy. But if it's like, I don't know, some guy comes at you with a knife and you didn't
You
even mean this.
blast them.
Yeah, and you didn't even mean to, and you just happen to kill him. Then like, yeah, you're fine. You might. I mean, I'm sure the law with its twists and turns has its ways of like, well, maybe you didn't have to do that, and you're still gonna go away for a little bit, but a lot better than life in prison or death.
Point is, if this guy killed someone and I'm in a car with him and I get pulled over, I'm like, I'm sorry, my guy, you're already going away for forever.
It was
Yeah,
all
I'm
so
him.
just
It
saying,
was
I'm
all
spilling
him.
everything. I'm spilling everything. I was like, my guy, even if I don't say anything, you're gonna be gone.
yeah, so
Yeah, that's
first
what I'm
I,
saying.
degree
Like
is
I'm gone
premeditated.
regardless.
First degree is premeditated. Second is not, and then third is like when you have absolute zero intent of killing this person. Like you, like
Wait,
were
what?
playing, you were playing golf and you accidentally hit him with the golf ball in the head and he's dead.
second
Yeah.
degree is
So
like, I
so
mean, I
you
killed him.
killed him. You killed him like completely unwillingly. That's third degree murder, which is manslaughter.
Third degree is like, I mean, I killed him, but I'm not
It's like,
unhappy that I killed him.
yeah, it's like, man, fuck Jerry. It was coming to him. He fucking
Should have
got some
swung that
bets
hard,
away from
homie.
me on the fucking
Wait.
on the
Yeah,
18th hole, bro.
what's a good example of second degree? Because like third degree, like I immediately think of like a car accident, but if second degree, if it wasn't premeditated, so you just like,
Second versus third degree.
So I mean, and I don't know. Like I kind of got a little confused, but I would assume that not wanting to kill, not going out of your way to kill someone intentionally, would have just been like, oh, man called you a pussy, shot him,
Oh, okay,
okay,
okay.
yeah. See,
something
that's
along
what I was
those
thinking
is
lines.
too, but I wasn't sure.
is
So
second degree like?
second degree is when it's not premeditated, but there is an intent to harm. Third degree
Oh,
is when
Okay,
it's
okay.
not premeditated and there was never an intent to harm. Like again, it's like you swing the fucking the club and then the ball hits Jerry who's like picking up his ball at the 18th hole and he's dead.
so accidentally
Straight
accidentally
to the
giving
temple.
Jerry too
Second
much
degree would be
drugs on
like,
accident.
yeah, second degree would be like someone's squaring up and you're trying to like defend your life. At that point you're attempting to inflict harm on this person.
And they,
But
okay,
it's
yeah,
but
But
it's
it wasn't your
unwillingly.
plan.
Yeah, it wasn't your plan.
yeah. See,
Which
that's
I
what I
guess
thought, but I
would be like
wasn't
self
sure.
defense. Yeah. Yeah, like third degree is like some like final destination shit. Like it
S-
like
Was not supposed to
nobody
happen.
wasn't, yeah, it's completely not supposed to happen.
My
What
God,
about
if
like a
But it
if I
happened.
nurse,
for
a nurse
if
mistaking pills and giving it to someone and accidentally killing that person?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, who knows though? That's either like a really sad third degree or really well done first.
Yeah. It's like nobody knew.
I mean, if she got caught, then it's probably not well done first. But I would hate to die from a golf ball hitting me on the head. First of all, I would hate that
Fuck.
I would be disappointed in myself for being at a golf course. No offense to anybody who plays golf. But to be like knocked out and then die, I would haunt that person for forever.
Yeah, dude, I've been to Top Golf a couple times. It's just like there's this there's this cart that goes around and it has like a brush
They have
up
like a
front.
shield, no?
Yeah, and so what they do is like the balls get so concentrated in the field that they have to go sweep them out. And so I remember the last time I was there, I saw the truck or the little go kart go there, and it's all fully shielded and barricaded. And you could just see the people like something snapped in us, and we're like, "Yo, let's try and hit this guy."
Oh, that poor
And so
guy.
we're
Oh
just
my god.
swinging this thing, and you just
Fucked
hear, "Duk,
up.
duk, duk, duk."
Y'all are evil, man.
Yeah, no, I hit it, dude. It was fun. Like the guy was even laughing, so we were like, "All right, he's having a good time."
He has a
But
paintball
I could
gun.
just imagine like it just goes in, like hits the thick ass glass, shatters, and just knocks out this guy. Then yeah, dude, that's third degree.
Bro, I barely wanted to clean the bathrooms at churches, let alone freaking get some balls while getting pelted. Hell no.
Nah, dude, you're fine. It honestly looked like fun. Honestly he might be paid kind of well. I mean, it's Top Golf. It's not like they're underpaying anybody there. At least I
I've
don't
never
hope
been to
so.
Top Golf.
Top
I've
Golf is
always
fun.
wanted to go.
We
It's
should go.
pretty cheap too. There's a certain time where you could go, and it's like,
The,
don't
the
quote
way
me,
they
but it was super
explained
cheap,
it to me was like you have to sign up for a membership and then it
which is
gets
free.
cheaper.
Which is free.
Okay, because they told me that you have to pay a certain amount and then it gets cheaper the more after you go the first time.
No, I mean each time I went, they were like, "Hey, if you sign up as a member, you don't you don't have to bring in your own clubs and stuff." And
Mm.
being a member is just like it's almost it's like when you go to fucking Guest or H&M and you're like, "Hey, do you have a rewards membership with us?" It's the same thing, and you
I love
get
that he added the voice.
yeah, and you get access to free clubs and everything. It's pretty fun, and they also have food. It's really cool. It's a good time.
That beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
I mean,
Oh, ooh.
I've been on a couple dates with my girlfriend there, and we
Hmm.
had fun. It was pretty cool.
I
So we
think
going or what the fuck?
I feel like most places now have beer, like even places that are mostly for kids.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like when you go to like the fucking Dave and Buster's, it's like all the kids are out playing, and then you see the waiters are like, "Yo, you want another drink?"
You're like, yes, please.
Yo, and when they legalize weed, I'm calling it now. There's gonna be bud
Oh,
tenders,
it's
and
speaking of it,
Butt tenders.
I
that's what they're called, bud tenders.
Butt tender.
I thought you meant like like booty tenders or something. I'm like, wait a minute.
The fucking
dude,
people
no,
on the side dressed nicely, ready to smack your ass.
these are no
No,
bullshit.
I just imagine chicken tenders.
Caesar, no bullshit. The other day I saw this like just on my Google feed. They were like, Arizona Superior Supreme Court judge blocked this like appeal that uh a proposition to legalize weed should not be on this upcoming November election. And he said,
207.
yeah, and he said, nah, that's completely bullshit. It's staying on the ballot. So yeah, there's a good fucking
Oh,
chance that like
dude, I'm
come
calling it.
2021, we're just gonna be DOIs but with more weed, dude.
I'm calling it, dude. It's already on the ballot. It's already on the. It's gonna be on the November ballot,
Yeah,
and
it is.
a lot of people. I'm gonna vote. So shit.
Well,
There's
at least I
fucking
hope you vote.
dispensary. Yeah, the dispensaries are everywhere already. So like the state, it would benefit the state with tax money
Yeah, I agree.
coming in. Like, come on, my guy.
I
People are using it.
I see a like a good opportunity in to like legalize it because we'll actually gain things from it. But
Yeah,
I know that people are just not gonna use this substance properly or maturely. So it's like it's we go back to the thing where it's like a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, they're arrested because they're smoking weed, and they're gonna be like, man, it's illegal. What the fuck you trying to do? But yeah, I'm still voting yeah on it because like we might get more fucking money
Revenue.
going to
yeah.
schools and stuff,
And
which
a
would be
lot of
good.
people are thinking about like, oh, the people that are gonna abuse it, but people aren't thinking about the actual community or population of people that this will benefit. Like the people that have kids and they use THC, not just marijuana, just the THC and like either edibles, and they help them with like schizophrenia. I'm pretty sure I pronounced it wrong. Did I?
Why are you talking
Schizophrenia.
about like mental issues, or are you talking about the back pain?
Well, I'm thinking about the people or the population of people who use medical marijuana as a it's only been their only solution to helping them in their wellness.
Okay, the reason I say back pain is because I have a cousin who he
Scoliosis.
actually has
There you go.
a
Yep,
medical
yep.
card and uses weed because his scoliosis is really bad, and that's what um fucking that's the only thing that could prevent his pain. But I'm not gonna lie, this motherfucker like comes into parties high as fuck, and he's like, "Bro, I'm
It's good.
so high right now," and I'm like, "Bro, are you fucking using it because like legit your back is hurting, and you just want to be high?" And he's like, "Both, bro, both."
Give me
Pros
espalda,
and
no.
cons,
That's
isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, but like the people that have like kids that are under 18 and they had to jump through hoops to get like doctors to actually prescribe them either them or their child the actual prescription to get the marijuana card. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at that population that they've only found that weed is the only thing that's helped them, and not these other drugs that so many doctors have prescribed them. You
yeah.
know?
I also find it pretty cool because there's a population of people who just don't have insurances or don't go with doctors, to get prescribed these things. And
Mm,
so it almost opens up that market of still that people are using it for medical reasons, but it opens up to people who, for example, are, I don't know, like undocumented and have traumatic pain, but have no access to it. And this could be a way for them to, get this to actually treat their injuries or disabilities, which would be cool.
Yo, all weed dealers are gonna be like, nah, because if they make it legal, no one's gonna hit up them.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's one of the main talking points. It's like if we legalize it, now we've kind of broken up that system for the black market, the illegal market, because now it's legal. Now the government could actually control, put prices that are pretty competitive, and that
yeah,
can knock down the illegal market for it.
I'm
Which
like, listen, dude.
actually, I think in California, the illegal market is like at its all-time high, despite it being legal. I don't know what the fuck is happening. It's like,
I
nah,
have to
bro,
imagine.
I want to get arrested. All
I
right.
They're like, listen, dog, this shit right here is on natural.
Which
that, that
actually
that
might be
was
sick.
that was something that I was going to bring up too. Is the first thing I think of when I think of that proposition is it is going to clean up the streets by a lot. At least I hope so, right? You hope it has that effect. Apart from yeah, like I honestly didn't even think about the people that need it for pain because in my opinion, from what I've seen, how many people do you truly know that legitimately use it for hardcore pain? Obviously, Joe, I know you mentioned your cousin, but when you look at like a good percentage of people, I feel like that's probably not one of the bigger reasons.
Oh no.
But like for sure, like I think of the other states that already have it uh, legalized, and you don't see like a whole lot of bad news come out of it. And I think it's just because that those whole states are probably so mellowed out. But for sure, the it'd be nice to think like, oh, good, there won't be so many shootings because of bad drug deals.
Yeah.
It's just going to clean that aspect of it up, and we'll just be able, as much as should the government be allowed to control stuff like that, like they already do a bunch of a bunch
They're
of
infringing upon my rights.
yeah, like should they be allowed, should
I
we
know,
allow them
right?
to add that to their list of things that they already control? Who knows, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Modify the Bill of Rights to add an 11th
but
Amendment to
but at
you,
but at
you have a
least
right to smoke weed.
at least we'll be cleaning up something, like there's going to be some positives to it, so
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's being used, it's being sold, regardless if the government wants it or not. So at the end of the day, do you want these people in the black market to have this cash, or do you want to take advantage and actually benefit and get some of that cash?
Now,
You see,
now
the
I
thing is,
agree.
here we go. It's like, all right, and now there's more tax money, which, we all want it to go to schools, to go to infrastructure. But chances are it's just going to go to buy a few more fucking F-15 fighter jets or something.
Jesus
So
Christ.
to bring
I
it
mean,
back
it's the
to
reality.
what we are talking about, it's going to clean up the streets. My prediction is because a lot of these drug dealers are doing it to provide for their own families, or for their own personal gain, whatever the fuck they want to spend it on. They might move on to another thing, aka probably cocaine, maybe meth.
I mean,
A lot of
chances are
them
that
are,
these guys are already selling those things
yeah, a
as
lot of
well.
them are
yeah.
already doing that, my guy.
I was just gonna say that's the problem, is that you start selling weed because it is something that like 90% of drug users use, but then you start to dive into the world, and not to name names because I have a couple, and I think you guys do too. We know
Yeah.
people that have dived into that world, and I personally have seen people start with marijuana, and then it goes, to cocaine, it goes
Mm-hmm.
to pills, so people that are already dealing with weed, for a fact that they're already dealing with those other drugs. So you're right though. Like, will it just add to that market? Will people just start to, push those drugs more? I don't know, because in my opinion, I feel like the people that deal with mostly weed and maybe some other drugs don't want to make that their main thing, because not a lot of people are in that market for those things, and the people that are, I would imagine it starts to get really dangerous. So I think there's probably a limit to some of those guys. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I feel like the people that are dealing the harder drugs, meth, crack cocaine, are probably in their own niche market, in their own corner of the
Oh
black
yeah.
market.
A lot of the dealers that I have, they post pictures of obviously they post pictures of the products they have
Yeah,
and what times they're serving, as they say, because now that's what they go. I'm serving or shops closed, whatever. That's the terminology they use. But I want to say that 90% of them is weed, and they have a small amount of other drugs. By other
Fentanyl.
drugs, I mean like uh, acid. What's the mushrooms and pills.
And
nice.
They
fentanyl.
don't. I always see tops maybe 10 to 15 pills, or even 15 little sheets of acid. But whereas when they take pictures of when they receive their weed, and they receive weed on a weekly basis, well, at least the guy I'm talking about, he posts pictures of him getting the load. It's like a massive amount of weed. It's just, and he pushes that out every week. Whereas the pills, it's just like the same amount for like more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My point is that they deal with weed majorly, and I feel like if it gets legalized, yeah, I guess since they can't really benefit from that or make money off of weed, I think that they're gonna invest way more money into the
You know,
other
I think there
drugs.
lies one critical issue is that humans are, just creatures that adapt to the environment they're in. We're products of what we're living in. And I feel like if the climate changes to, hey, weed is legal now, that's not a market that you can pursue. People are gonna do harder drugs. They're gonna start pushing coke. They're gonna start pushing more amphetamines, which will just feed into the already existing epidemic with fucking uh, amphetamines. So, like I said, there's gonna be pros to it, but there's also gonna be cons. There's gonna be these guys that are gonna be advertising harder stuff, and thus, in you know, the youth and even longtime fans are gonna be like, hell yeah! Now it's easier to get hands on coke. Now it's easier to get my hands on meth, something like that.
Jesus, man.
I mean, it's the truth.
That's that's what I was trying to explain
These guys
earlier.
are gonna, these guys are gonna want to sustain themselves.
And then 10 to 15 years from now, we're gonna be like, man, just legalize cocaine, man. Like
Yeah,
we
they're
already
gonna be like
use
legalize
it.
that shit.
Like health benefits and stuff.
Yeah, it's like
Keeps them very
the increased
productive.
heart rate is good for burning calories. I don't
Yeah. You want to lose weight quick? Just do fucking 4 lines every day.
know. Yeah, no, drugs is always a topic that, I mean, for the most part, isn't too good to talk about. But I mean, with weed having been so prevalent for such a long time, we've been able to study it and everything. I'm not a pothead, but I
Yeah,
sure as hell do not compare weed to fucking fentanyl, which can kill you with literally
dude.
a quarter of a microgram.
And
It's
that's
fucking absurd. You know
that's
how
all coming
easy
from
it is.
Mexico, man.
Yeah, which is like here is what we're gonna go with again. It's like these guys are gonna be okay. Weed isn't a viable source, so I'm gonna have to start pushing other things, and then it's just gonna come full circle and hit the community harder. Which, like I said, it's difficult to predict what truly will happen.
Yeah, fentanyl's a whole different thing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I mean, like we're going back to. I want to go back to. Um,
Churros. Yeah. You want to go back to
churros are
churros?
highly addicting. All right, fuck, churros are fucking awesome.
Fuck. Dude, it's like
But
I
how I
think
was
the
saying,
most
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say something stupid. Like the most addicted drink is orange juice because every time I drink some, I always want more. I can't stop drinking it.
Really?
Orange juice is
Dude,
dope.
it's fucking scary, bro. My mom brings like a gallon, like a really big gallon of like Minute Maid orange juice, and I pour myself like a cup, and I'm over here like I'm gonna fucking finish this. Like,
I have a worry that we're gonna see Caesar like swimming in Tampico or some shit.
oh no, Tampico, no, that has too much sugar. But like Minute Maid orange juice,
Yeah,
dog,
right.
Fuck, it all
like
has a lot of sugar. Look
no, no,
how
no,
it's like 40 grams of sugar.
nah,
No,
Tampico though, Tampico's like hella like
bro. Let's look. One serving of Minute Maid juice.
well,
I don't
it
know.
tastes
I
sweeter. It tastes
I think
sweeter.
Minute Maid is a bad example, but I feel like I know what you're talking about, Caesar. Like definitely freshly. poured orange juice, like with the pulp and like the nasty
Yeah.
gooiness. It's very good.
Pulp.
Oh, dude, I love
Pulp.
pulp. Pulp is the way to go.
Yeah. All right, guys. We hit an hour marker, and I think that's it for tonight.
Make
That
your juice,
Uh,
boys. Oh, it's 24 grams.
that does it.
24 grams. Shit, what the fuck you drinking with 40 grams? God damn.
I don't know. Put a little bit of fennel in it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay. Does anyone have any final words?
Follow us on Instagram at Chela Time Podcast.
Yep. Follow us on Pornhub too. Where else? No, I'm kidding.
OnlyFans coming soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone.